rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events, this is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. Hey, I'm seeing questions regarding audio. Is Facebook okay with audio? Because I'm seeing audio coming through. Is Rumble having problems? If you're on any of my other platforms, let me know what you guys are seeing, because if not, then I'm gonna have to stop and restart my program. You guys having any how about audio? How's the audio? Hello? Any audio, folks? Hello? Don't tell me I'm in the same boat that we were in the other night, because that would kind of suck. Hello? Okay, so audio is on Facebook, but not on Rumble. Well, that kind of stinks. Facebook is good. All right, so Facebook's good. I'm going to assume X is okay. I hope. All right, so Rumble is the one that's having the problem or having the issues. Okay, so, all right, so Facebook is good. I'm going to assume that YouTube is good for audio. I'm hoping pilled.net is also good for audio. If there's any pilled folks, anybody over there, because Facebook has the audio. I don't understand why I can try to restart just the stream to Rumble. And let me see if I can do that. So, let me go ahead and try and restart the Rumble stream. And, now let's see if this will actually fix. It's trying to send data now. Sending data. Okay. We can try looking at Rumble again here. All right. Any sound on Rumble now? I restarted the stream on Rumble. Any sound over there? Anyone? We're not going to play around with this too long. As long as I have sound on one of my outlets, that's what I'm going to go with. So hopefully. Okay, so Rumble came back, it looks like. Is that right? I see from my news that Rumble came back. Please give me some kind of confirmation here, folks. I know you guys are behind me in terms of the length of time, but it looks to me like there's sound over on Rumble. Okay, so we do have sound now. All right, there we go. Okay, so we resolved the Rumble problem. All right, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, let's go ahead and get things kicked off. But before we do, I would like to bypass, I guess is that isn't the term that I want, but rather than doing the Pledge of Allegiance tonight, because of the fact that we actually have two service members that were killed in Iranian strikes on Jordan. We have 4 additional service members that were treated for injuries and later returned to duty, and we still have one MIA. So at least as far as the most current information that I have has. So in lieu of the pledge, I would like to play taps But also, as a special request by my unofficial producer, I have taken Taps and added it to a video, hat tip to Arlington Media, a video of the missing man formation done by the United States Air Force. So if you are of mind, please stand and pay your respects for the 2 U.S. service members killed. And we will watch this video of the missing man at the same time. So, ladies and gentlemen, in honor of our 2 U.S. servicemen killed and the one that is missing. All right. There you go. Hopefully they find that missing member soon and alive. You know, but you know, that's unfortunate, but that's what conflicts and war and things like that do, unfortunately. But anyway, prayers go out to the families, of course, of those 2 U.S. service members that were killed. And like I said, here's hoping that we get the one back. All right, tonight's headline sponsor, of course, because it is a Saturday, is none other than theamericanview.com. That's theamericanview.com is where you can go. It's The American View is the name of the company. It's formerly known as the Institute on the Constitution, but they changed their name not too long ago. That's okay. They still got all of the good stuff that I have been pitching for many years now. The American View has a vision. That vision is a nation of effective and influential contributors to American government, society, and culture, prepared by educational resources that are focused on the biblical and transformative heritage of America's founding. That is what they do. Here is one of the things that they do for you. You can be a defender of truth, liberty, and God-given rights by taking their U.S. Constitution course. It is on sale right now for $76. That's right. You can take this Constitution course and learn all about the U.S. Constitution from the founders. What you can do is you can head on over to their study page. It's theamericanview.com/study, or just go to courses and click on the U.S. Constitution course, as you see I just did. And you can learn directly from the founders. Start your constitutional journey by getting lesson 1 for free delivered directly to your inbox. Come here and put in your first name, last name, and your email address, and then click Get Lesson 1 free, and it'll be sent right to you. You will learn at your own pace with the nationally recognized 100% online course. There is 12 short lessons in this course. Each of those lessons are 15 to 20 minutes long. And once you are done with that, you can go and check out all of their other courses and materials, and you can consider joining their community by either donating, becoming a sponsor, becoming a member, or even better yet, become an instructor. That's right. Leave a legacy, restore the constitutional republic, and prepare the future by hosting a course in your community. There is 3 easy steps that you can take to become an instructor. All you have to do, watch this video. It tells you exactly what you need to do right here and how to become a American View instructor. They also have have a video as well for 5 tips for a successful class. You can go and read that or watch that, because they're not going to hang you out high and dry. They also provide you, or can provide, a instructor kit, and this is fantastic. It has all kinds of information in it. All you have to do to get that instructor kit is head over to their shop. Once you're there, you can pick up the U.S. Constitution course. You can pick up other educational resources, and they've got a bunch of them. You can also pick up Self-Evident apparel, because they are partnered or owned, I guess is a better way to put it, by Self-Evident Ministries. You can also pick up your other instructor materials. They've got it all right there, but my personal favorite is right above my head right here at the Legacy Library. Now, the Legacy Library has a bunch of leather products. I love my leather. And they have a leather Declaration of Independence wall hanging, a leather Bill of Rights. They have a leather Magna Carta. They have a leather U.S. Constitution wall hanging. There's 4 of them. And let me just tell you, start off with my personal favorite. Carry it around with you at all times, man. Let me just tell you, head on over to theamericanview.com, go to their shop, go to the Legacy Library, and pick up your Constitution, your leather-bound U.S. Constitution. Right here, as G, one of my Whiskey Warriors over on Rumble, states, as soon as I can find my cursor, says, no cheap glue, no cheap glue. They have stitching just for you. And that's right. Because if you look at this, and an 1/8 of an inch of Saddleback leather wrapped around pages that are water and tear resistant, check out this. That's not cheap glue here, folks. I told you, it's stitched all the way through the pages and the leather contained within. It's got a 100-year warranty against materials and manufacturing defects, such that if you have a problem with this item, you can send it back to the manufacturer, and they will either fix it or replace it for free. It is buddy tested, buddy approved, Billy tasted, Billy approved. My youngest Whiskey Warrior has confirmed the information contained within will help you to achieve your civics badge in scouting, not to mention your civics exam and your naturalization test. All of it comes out of this book. The founding document for our country. You can have it in a keepsake item, pass downable item. This is able to be passed down from generation to generation. It is a fantastic buy. I'm telling you right now, pick yours up today. Head on over to theamericanview.com, go to shop, go to their Legacy Library, and you'll find it right there for the low price of $19. You pick it up, man. Let me tell you, best $20 you'll have ever spent. And I thank them, theamericanview.com, for being a sponsor of this program. And don't forget to check out all of their information and consider becoming an instructor for the Constitution of the United States. Teach all of these people the Constitution, because I'm telling you, there are some seriously stupid people out there who do not know the Constitution or American history, because it's not being taught anymore. It's not being properly taught anymore. Yeah. Anyway, head on over to theamericanview.com, and I thank them for being a sponsor of the program. All right. So let's talk for a second about these strikes. So we had the 2. Unfortunately, Iran is striking all of their neighbors because their neighbors are helping us. And so they're striking our neighbors, or their neighbors, I should say, not our neighbors, but they're striking their neighbors. And that's why Jordan got nailed, unfortunately. We have U.S. military bases in a lot of these countries, like Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, etc. And so they are striking us, or they're attempting to. Well, the U.S. says, you know what? You guys struck us. Now we're going to strike you back. And they are launching strikes right now for the seventh consecutive night. The seventh consecutive night. And both sides have been trading blows now. U.S. Central Command stated that the latest round of strikes concluded around 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Which isn't even here yet. No, that was on July 17th. I'm sorry. That was yesterday. So they concluded. So they're probably going to continue tonight too. Anyway, it was most of the strikes have been targeting Iranian surveillance sites, military logistics infrastructure, underground weapons storage, and maritime capabilities. The U.S. military also deployed more fighter aircraft, aerial drones, and warships to the region as the United States seeks to hold Iran accountable for the attacks on commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. More than 50,000 American service members are operating across the Middle East and remain vigilant, lethal, and ready, the CENTCOM said in a post on X. Now, just a couple of days ago, J.D. Vance kind of, but not really. I mean, he sort of ruled out a ground war, which I'm not sure how long they're going to be able to hold that kind of thought process, to be honest with you. But, I mean, sooner or later, we're going to have to go in if they keep this up. So we're just going to continue, I guess, pounding them from the air. I mean, obviously we have air superiority, which is, and naval superiority as well. So for now, anyway, I don't think we're going to have any ground troops. However, I'm not holding my breath that JD is correct in this particular assessment. Mainly just because of the fact that I just don't see how we are necessarily going to be able to complete and finish this conflict quickly without having at least some ground troops somewhere. Now, all of that being said, there are a couple of places or a couple of areas where they, you know, if the Iranian people decided to rise up against the regime at the same time that we're attacking them from the air, well, that could be a positive. However, Iran has been blocking the internet over there for, you know, many months now. And so I'm not sure if any communications are actually getting in and out of the country. Of course, you know, I don't claim to know anything here other than what I read in the papers and see online. But my guess is that the reason why Iran has shut that down is because of the fact that they don't want any communication going in and out. And the Kurds, who are part of that area or in that area, they might be able to, thanks for the assist here from G. The Kurds could take advantage of it and perhaps take Iran, you know, itself. Or what you could end up with is potentially, if they become enough of a serious bug in the side of their Arab neighbors, you could end up with a possibility that the Arab neighbors go in and, you know, take care of Iran. I doubt that. That's like so far off, it's not even funny. But yeah, we'll have to kind of see how things go. But again, that clock is ticking. 60 days has started that Trump can keep up military action without congressional approval in any way, shape, or form. So we're just going to have to see how that goes. For that. All right. Before I get on to my next topic or next subject, oh, shoot. You know, I was so distracted, I forgot completely about something. Hang on just a moment, folks. Sorry. Step aside. I completely forgot about this. the first segment. This is Saturday, right? Yeah. There we go. It's a little late there, unofficial producer, but all right. I'll accept it. Yeah, we usually do on this day in American history by now, and man, I got all thrown off. All right, so hold on here. Let's see. Yeah, I can leave. All right, let's go ahead and let me get back to the original. Hang on here. I am so discombobulated. I apologize. We'll get back over here, and now let's do on this day in American history. Ah, boy. On this day in American history, we read, of course, from the American Patriots Almanac, written by William J. Bennett and John T.E. Cribb, chock full of all kinds of information and factoids. Look at that. We're about halfway through. Information and factoids about this fantastic country that we call home. Okay. Let's talk about July 18th. Boys, the old flag never touched the ground. As ducks, wow. And I haven't even really been drinking. As dusk fell on the evening of July 18th, 1863, about 600 men of the 54th Massachusetts Volunteer Infantry assembled on a beach near Charleston, South Carolina. At the shout, "Forward, 54th!" they began to move across a narrow spit of sand toward Fort Wagner, a massive sand and wood Confederate stronghold with walls that rose 30 feet high. As they neared the fort, a storm of cannonballs and bullets tore into the blue-coated line. The 54th Massachusetts was a Northern Black Regiment organized shortly after Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. Its ranks were full of young men who volunteered to fight because they knew that if blacks helped win the Civil War, no one could ever think of them as slaves again. 23-year-old Sergeant William Kearny helped lead the assault on Fort Wagner. At his side ran Sergeant John Wall carrying the American flag. When the enemy fire struck Wall down, Kearny threw his rifle aside and grasped the colors before they hit the ground. As he pressed forward, a bullet hit him in the thigh. He fell to his knees but managed to get up and struggle onto a parapet where he planted the flag. There he knelt, bearing the colors as the battle raged around him. When the overwhelmed Union troops fell back, Kearny struggled back down the earthworks, determined not to let the flag fall into enemy hands. He was shot twice more as he staggered across the sand to his own lines, still clutching the stars and stripes. "Boys, the old flag never touched the ground," he exclaimed as he collapsed. The 54th Massachusetts lost nearly half of its men during the assault, but its courage won respect for black soldiers in the North. William Kearny recovered from his wounds. For his bravery in protecting the flag that night, he received the Medal of Honor, the nation's highest military award. And that, tonight, is on this day in American history. Yep, ladies and gentlemen, you never let the flag touch the ground. That happens to be something that the leftists seem to forget. Speaking of forgetting, I also forgot to mention what I am drinking tonight, thanks to my unofficial producer keeping me on tap here. Tonight is Woodford Reserve. Bunny should like this. Well, Fat Paws would like this. And I grabbed this bottle, just so you know, I grabbed this bottle today in my trip to the Naval Exchange because of Fat Paws. And I am drinking it out of the sister glass of It Takes Stones to Drink with Whiskey. This is the American Perspective logo. I know it's kind of hard to see, but there's the respective stones in the bottom of the glass. All right, here we go. Taking a sip. And while I was sojourning out to the Naval Exchange, the NEX, I actually picked up a new shirt, a new T-shirt. I'm going to show it to you here. I'm going to pull the mic down a little bit so you guys can see. But as you can see, it has the 1776 Liberty or Death logo right here. And then on the back, hang on just a second. Got to get untied here. For those that can't see, it's a picture of George Washington, or a depiction of George Washington crossing the Delaware. And at the bottom of it, it says, Liberty or Death. So there it is, 1776, Liberty or Death. It is a great little shirt. I like it. Anyway, so that was part of our sojourning today. We went out and, the wife had to come with me. Mrs. Whiskey requested that we go to the NEX. And so we did. Although she can't remember what NEX because she gets confused because I call it the PX, which is the post exchange. That's the Army terminology for the exact same place. Whereas the NEX is for the Navy. Yeah, and trust me, I didn't wear any Army gear this time. I didn't wear my Army hat. I didn't want to insult them. Anyway, unfortunately, though, they do have a lot of Navy stuff in there. Otherwise, I would pick it up if they would, expand a little bit. But then again, it is Navy. So, All right. Well, let's talk a little second or two about Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham's funeral has been pushed off because apparently there's a lot of people that are looking to, November 25th is a Wednesday? You got to remind me. I'm just going to say it right now. You're going to have to remind me because I'm not exactly the greatest, but I will try. Woodford, you want me to drink this on the 25th. Is that right? Anyway, sorry. I'm having a conversation with Bonnie right now. She's over here in the chat. I will do my best to get there, or to get that. All right. Lindsey Graham's funeral. So his funeral is been postponed because apparently, okay, gotcha. Apparently the, his funeral is going to be attended by a bunch of people. He was highly respected. And I got to tell you, once I found out that he was only, yeah, we got an Amber Alert. That's too bad. All I can say is with Lindsey Graham that when I found out that he was only worth about $1.5 million, yeah, I was pretty respectful, to be honest with you, considering the rest of Congress are all like, in the double digits of millions. So, yeah. Anyway, his memorial services, Lindsey Graham's memorial services, will be on Tuesday, July 28th in Washington, D.C. And then there's going to be 2 memorials in South Carolina for Wednesday, July 29th. There's one in Columbia and then another in what they call Pickens County. So, yeah. And it's been a global outpouring of well wishes from his political allies as well as some foes. You may see some world leaders attending, as the late Republican played a major role in the foreign policy world. So there you go, including his strong support of both Israel and Ukraine, as well as the military intervention in Iran. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is expected to be one of the high-profile global attendees, according to the Times of Israel. So, yeah. Anyway. Speaking of Lindsey Graham, his sister, who was appointed, Senator Darlene Graham Nordone, she is supposed to be filling his seat until January. Well, they're having a special election. And apparently, Donald Trump has endorsed her for that special election. Now, she hasn't even mentioned whether or not she's going to try and run in the special election. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but she is reportedly considering it, running in the special elections. So, yeah. So there you go. We'll see what happens. But anyway, by the way, I don't know if anybody's been flying their flag at half-staff, but I think it ends tomorrow for Lindsey Graham's memorial, or in memoriam about it. Don't know that for sure. I got to check it. But I believe the half-staff ends tonight at sundown. And so all of your flags that are at half-staff, I believe, go back up to full staff come tomorrow morning. All right. Well, it's not happening, but it's good that it is files. You know, it's kind of interesting. I keep getting into conversations with people on social media, and by conversations, it's usually with them spitting, vehemently saying I'm a racist and so on and so forth, even though I simply call out that, voter fraud does happen, and yeah, it happens quite a bit, which is part of the reason why we need the SAVE Act, okay? I mean, the latest bombshell by Trump last night unearthed a complete conspiracy, and it's not conspiracy theory, but a full conspiracy of China interfering in Michigan's elections. Now, keep in mind, I keep telling people, it's like, look, because one of the things that the left keeps saying is, well, yeah, okay, you say that, but it's never affected our national elections. Folks, look, whether or not it actually changes the outcome of like a presidential election, I guarantee you, if you get enough in any one given space, okay, in any one given space, I got to tell you, seriously, you can affect a state or local election. See, because the numbers are smaller. And so because the numbers are smaller and it's a lot easier to manipulate, that should be concerning to everyone. Doesn't matter. Does it really matter if the elections for nationwide, the presidency are affected? Well, yes, if it's on a large grand scale, but this is the thing. Whether it's happened on a large grand scale or not, we still have vulnerabilities. We still have holes in our fence that we need to fix, that we need to patch. Regardless of whether it's actually occurred or not, the fact is we know about them. We see them all the time. Speaking of seeing them, here is one in particular. This happened in Minnesota. Here is a Navy veteran, okay? And he happens to be a GOP Senate candidate up there. His name is Adam Schwarze, 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 okay? Anyway, and he actually got a kickoff or a tip-off that this crap is happening because of the plain and simple fact that, well, the state says that he voted in person at the polls in 2012. So he voted in person at a poll for a presidential election in 2012. Except for there's only one problem. Schwartz was nearly 2,000 miles away in the California mountains attending BUDS, which is the Navy's elite training course for SEALs. He wasn't even in the state, and yet the state says that he voted in person. How in the hell does that happen? I'd kind of like to understand this. Now, he, in fact, recalls that he got his ass beat specifically because he didn't vote. He says all the instructors, the morning after the election, we woke up, Obama had won the election, and they said, who didn't do their absentee voting? And, of course, it was like a gotcha. None of the SEAL candidates had gone to do their absentee voting. We were all in SEAL training. Seriously? I mean, come on, folks. This is how could he have voted? How could he have voted in 2012, being in California, in San Diego, at SEAL training? It's not possible. And he remembers it, of course, because of the fact that he got their ass beat. So, there you go. Anyway, now, despite this, Minnesota state records that were reviewed by Fox News Digital indicate that Schwartz did vote in 2012. Now, the records don't say who he supposedly cast a ballot for, but the fact that he was there and voted. There is no possible way for him to have voted in person in 2012 for the presidential election. This is yet another indication and another reason for us to sit here and say, hey, you know what? We need to shut this door. I don't care what it is. We need to shut this door. This is known as a vulnerability. And if you don't close that vulnerability, if you don't seal it up, this is a problem. Now, keep in mind, Minnesota itself, as a state, does not require any voter ID in order to vote. And that would mean, of course, that somebody identified themselves as Schwartz without a voter ID. And anybody could walk in and just say, yeah, my name is John Doe. I use that as a euphemism. Yeah. Now, keep in mind, that makes it easy to vote under somebody else's name. All you need to do is have access. Oh, wait a minute. Didn't Trump just say that the Chinese have access to 220 million voter information? Ooh. Oh. You believe that? I mean, seriously, come on. This is so simple. It's so easy. It's so easy that a caveman could do it. I mean, seriously, a caveman would sit here and say, you know what, this is a bit of a problem. We need to get this fixed. There's a hole. We got to fill it. There's a hole in the fence, folks. Oh, there's plenty of holes in the fence, but the Save America Act will at least prevent stuff like that happening. Yes, people. I know it's hard, leftists, to actually understand that there are problems, that there are vulnerabilities. Do we honestly think that they modified a presidential election? No. But let me put it this time, put this out for you. Let's just say that your voting for your local elected leaders comes down to one singular ballot. And that one singular ballot sways the entire election for your local representative. And now you have widespread fraud. Did it matter on the presidential election side? No, because you're going up against literally millions of voters who potentially, which, by the way, I'm just going to say, for all of you idiots that are out here saying, oh, yeah, 2020, well, you know, why was there no fraud in 2016 and 2024 or 2018 and 2024? Very simple, folks. In 2024, there was enough to overcome any cheating that was going on. End of story. In 2020, we literally saw overnight ballot dumps that were completely against all statistical probability. Now, do I actually think that they modified or changed the election? It's entirely possible. I mean, look at Georgia. Georgia only was decided by less than 12,000 votes. That's all it would take. You get a concerted effort to dump ballots that have been created through ballot harvesting and dropping them into a ballot box somewhere. There is an entire possibility that, 12,000 votes showed up that had illegal votes to them. That number is not out of the realm of possibility. And you have hundreds of thousands of votes that show up in the middle of the night that go 100% toward one candidate. Even if they sit here and this is the other argument that they say, well, you know, the presidential candidate, they all showed up. It was 100% Biden, but yet down ballot races went the way that everybody expected them to. You don't think that anyone would sit here and be like, you know what? We're going to leave the local and state races because they're easier to track. It's easier to count them. It's easier to uncover fraud at that level than it is for the president. So we're going to make it so that this ballot, he or she, this fake voter, votes for the president in the Democrat Party, but yet down ballot votes for Republicans. I guarantee you, I have never seen a Republican. I have never heard of a Republican ever voting for Democrats for one position and Republicans for others. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. In fact, the number of times that an entire ballot is completely in a particular party far exceeds the idea that you could have hundreds of thousands of ballots that were voted for a Democrat on the top of the ticket and down ballot, everything else was Republican. It's just not possible, people. I'm telling you. And once again, you're looking at statistical analysis and the rules of probability. It's just not going to happen. So, yeah, fraud is happening, okay? Now, this is when this is how it got discovered, okay? A reporter fact-checked him, the Senator Schwartz, for saying that he had only ever voted for President Donald Trump, and then he was shocked to find that the records on the Minnesota Department of State's website indeed indicated that he voted in person in 2012. Further, records indicate an unknown person registered him to vote the day of the 2009 Minneapolis mayoral election, which was the city's first election using ranked choice voting. His voter registration became active the day after the 2009 Minneapolis mayoral election. So, yeah. And by the way, after requests for clarification on Schwartz's voting record, the spokesperson for the office of the Minnesota Secretary of State, Steve Simon, simply said that Minnesota's election system is governed by extensive state and federal laws to ensure it is honest, secure, and accurate. Minnesotans fundamentally trust our election system, which is why we are consistently number one in voter turnout, the spokesperson said, adding that in 2026, Minnesota ranked number one by Election Data and Science Lab at the MIT on the Election Performance Index as a nonpartisan biennial survey and analysis comparing election administrative policy and performance across the country. Spokesperson encouraged anyone who wants to learn more about the election security measures in Minnesota to visit the state's election security webpage. Now, that website also asserts that Minnesota elections are the envy of the nation and states that we are proud of our strong voter turnout, laws that ensure access to the ballot, robust security measures, and the transparency that is an essential part of maintaining trust in the system. However, Schwartz says, this demonstrates that fraud goes back decades, and so does voter integrity issues. Yeah. So, there you go. Now, Fox News Digital actually has a copy of Schwartz's Bud's orders, which show his report date for the roughly 6-month course as June 12th, putting his graduation from the course in the month of December. Now, wait a minute. When is the election? The elections happen in November, and he graduated in December. So his orders demonstrate that he actually was in California at the time. Yeah. And this is just one singular example. There's a lot of other examples that are out there. But of course, the leftists, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it at all. Well, if you're not listening, what am I saying? If you're not reading Technofog's blog on Substack, you absolutely should. He does a great analysis, by the way. He grabs these informational dumps like he did for Epstein, like he did for the Russia collusion hoax. He also did this one, Declassified, dealing with the voter fraud. And he went ahead and read through all of the documents, and he put together a Substack blog with regards to what the president just put out. And he talks in particular with regards to, he's got the 4 points that were made. Number one being the Democrat large-scale voter fraud in Michigan in 2020. And by the way, that's just one state. The China acquisition of voter data and the Chinese plans of election interference, vulnerabilities in the electronic voting systems, and non-citizens on state voter rolls. Okay, meaning the non-citizens were on those state voter rolls. So he starts off with Michigan. And he basically says, In March 2021, the FBI was informed that the state of Michigan is investigating allegations of fraudulent voter registrations submitted to the Muskegon, Muskegon City Clerk's Office. He goes, he writes, some state investigators were estimated that between 8,000 to 10,000 voter registrations had been delivered by mail and by hand. Now, he says that it should be noted that the Muskegon City had a population of only 37,000 people. See, this is an example of what I'm talking about, okay? 37,000 people per 2020 estimates. The city's clerk determined that some, if not many, of the applications were actually fraudulent. The state's investigation revealed that canvassers were paid to register voters in Michigan's largest cities by reloadable debit cards. Canvassers refused to identify the employer or to the authorities and changed their stories concerning whether or not they were paid for each completed form or if they were paid hourly. Now, there's a difference there. For those of you who are of the left side and can't comprehend what the difference is, if you're being paid hourly, you don't care how many forms you get because you're there for a certain amount of time. It's kind of like, working hourly versus working on salary. You really don't give a crap one way or the other, however many hours you actually work. Now, if you're being paid by completed form, you now have a monetary incentive to ensure that forms are completed and that you are turning in as many forms as possible. Ideally, what that does is that makes you move faster, get more forms. Yeah. Now, according to at least one canvasser who was interviewed by the FBI in 2023, some voters were registered multiple times. Some canvassers had their friends sign duplicate applications. The canvassers weren't just registering voters, they were also tasked to go door to door to hang flyers saying to vote for Biden. Another canvasser, according to the released documents, told the FBI that she suspected the canvassers might actually be forging signatures based on the number of signed registration forms that they were returning. Other interviewees stated that canvassers would trade marijuana and/or money for voter registration applications. I seem to recall there was this place in California. What was it called? Oh, yes, Skid Row, where the homeless were all lined up and they were paid to they were basically paid to register to vote and to vote for Democrats in just this last primary. Folks, this is happening all over. It's not just happening in blue states, realistically, although that is definitely where things are going on. But if you don't think that there's some sort of operations in some red states to try and make them turn into more purple, I mean, seriously. Come on. This canvasser, another canvasser, said that they were told by leadership in a meeting with over 100 canvassers present, if they couldn't get enough applications, they should just go ahead and fill them in. Everyone at the organization, including its leadership, was aware that the fraud was occurring, according to this canvasser. Yeah. Okay. Even the DOJ Public Integrity Section's cover-up of the Michigan voter fraud started from the beginning. At first, it only authorized an investigation into prepaid cards and not into the voter fraud. In August of 2021, 4 months after the DOJ PIN, Public Integrity Section, finally approved the voter fraud investigation, it ordered that no further action should be taken. See, this is all documented in the dump that Donald Trump just declassified. Now, you're sitting here and you're saying to yourself, well, wow, again, this is another hole in the fence. Why are we not doing anything about this? Now, I'm not saying that the SAVE Act is going to save everything, because it's not. But it's going to start somewhere. There are other places and other vulnerabilities that definitely need to be addressed. But the SAVE Act starts with blocking up the fence. It is the front door of the voter integrity, voter fraud chain. You have to block the idea or block the ability of just anybody being able to sign up. Okay? Which is unfortunate that that's what the 1993 National Voter Registration Act, known as the Motor Voter Act, is what started all of this. Because all you have to do is just check that box. I covered that extensively last night. Now, that one kind of went up my nose. Anyway, now, you sit here and you talk about ID and how voter ID is discriminatory and how voter ID, because people can't get ID. Well, every once in a while, there is a happenstance. Something happens that makes people sit there and go, Now this is hilarious. I mean, if you already know, just like I do, and just like I've explained on this program, that you can't go through life at all without having some form of photo identification to get anything, whether it's over-the-counter cold medicines, whether it's alcohol at the store, whether it's even being able to use your EBT cards or whatever, the SNAP cards, whatever they are. You have to have ID for a whole plethora of things. Well, Olive Garden shows you how hilariously stupid it is to fight over this voter ID crap. Olive Garden apparently posted on X because they have what they call the Pasta Pass. Now, the Pasta Pass is a never-ending pasta bowl, pasta menu items, whatever, that you have to go and purchase at Olive Garden. Now, they were all abuzz. Everybody, all across the social media. Because Olive Garden's social media team, they went ahead and made the case for us. And why you should pass, why Congress should pass the Save America Act. They posted a tweet about the pasta, the never-ending Pasta Pass. And here's the thing, is that for the never-ending Pasta Pass, okay, you can log into pastapass.com to claim one of the 10,000 passes that are on sale. All right? Each pass costs $100, and it allows the holder to get unlimited dine-in access for Olive Garden's never-ending pasta bowl for 13 weeks. And I'm going to tell you, I love Italian. I mean, my wife's Italian. I love Italian. I love my pasta. I love my gnocchi. I love all of that stuff. About the only thing I don't love necessarily, love about Italian is the wine. I do drink wine, but I don't drink it often. I'm a whiskey guy. Okay, bourbon in particular. But all of that being said, if you go and purchase one of these 10,000 pasta passes, you get 13 weeks, unlimited pasta and sauce combinations, the ability to add, switch, different toppings, protein toppings, whatever, and a choice of never-ending soup or salad. You get unlimited breadsticks. I remember when they ran this without the pasta pass, but now they have your pasta pass. So there was a person after the X account posted, after the Olive Garden X account posted this, there was a person who asked the question. Says, hey, are you able to order pasta for family using this pasta pass, or is it exclusively for the person who has the card at the table? And they say, I don't know about you, but it'd feel really weird to just have one person with unlimited pasta while everybody else waits. The answer was no. Now, the pass apparently can only be used by the pass holder. Oh, but here's the trick. In order to confirm that the person holding the pass, meaning the name that is on that pass, actually is the person sitting in the restaurant, you apparently need to present valid photo ID. So that means that if you walk in, so your name, here, I'm gonna change this. This is how voting would work. You present your ballot in the voting booth. In order to be able to vote, you need to present your valid photo ID saying, and the name's got to match, saying that you are the person who is dropping off this ballot. Because apparently even Olive Garden says, no, you need to prove that you're the person who is holding this pasta pass, because we're not going to sit here and pay. Because again, keep in mind, it's only $100 for the unlimited pass. Okay. You're going to be going in every single day, let's say, to go and get your money's worth. You're going to be go in every single day, and you're going to have to produce that photo ID to prove that you are the person who is supposed to be holding that pass. Yeah. Talk about adding yet another thing to the list of items that require photo ID. That right there proves 100% why we need the SAVE Act. I mean, I don't know about you, but I think that a citizen voting in an election is much more important than whether or not a person who spent $100 on the pass is actually the person holding the pass. Right? Anyway, this is fantastic. One user pointed out, hey, put Olive Garden in charge of our elections. Another noted that a pasta pass at Olive Garden comes with more stringent ID requirements than Democrats want in our elections. You can't make this stuff up. Even Riley Gaines had a suggestion. She goes, Olive Garden CEO for Senate Majority Leader. Some people wondered, hey, I want my elections as secure as the never-ending pasta pass deal at Olive Garden. Yep, I do too. And by the way, Olive Garden was so serious about securing it, one woman actually hit on a fantastic idea for securing endless breadsticks and bowls of pasta e fagioli. She says, and then, by the way, this is Haley Corona, all right? Or Carania, I guess is how it's pronounced, from, Bongino Silverlock organization. She goes, what if I gave birth at an Olive Garden location? Is my baby entitled to a never-ending pasta pass? Oh, this is how ridiculous this shit is. Seriously. The left are going to be like, well, Olive Garden can do it. Well, if Olive Garden can do it, why can't we? Why can't America do this? Seriously. I'm just saying. Anyway, now, just unfortunately for everybody, the pasta passes have sold out. But it's definitely not too late for the Senate to act and do the exact same thing. Seriously. Well, another laugh, and this actually falls into tonight's dumbass files. Speaking of which, let me see. Have that one right? Yes. This is in the dumbass files.
You're a dumbass. You're a dumbass. You're grade A, number one, bona fide first class. You're a dumbass. You're a dumbass. And you'll be one all your dumbass life.
All right, folks, tonight's dumbass is none other than AOC. You know how the Democrat Socialists of America are now openly basically saying, hey, we want to eliminate the Constitution. We want to eliminate the Senate. We want to eliminate the Supreme Court. We want to consolidate power into the executive branch. I mean, I don't know if all of this is true or not. I know the first couple are, but seriously. Well, AOC got caught on the steps of Capitol Hill the other day and was asked a question or two. And, well, let's just listen to her response with regards to this. Take a listen.
I don't support the filibuster. I don't support elements of this institution that we know, were founded on Jim Crow.
Okay. So, let's just take a second. I'm going to play it again, and I want you to listen very closely in terms of what she is saying here.
I don't support the filibuster. I don't support elements of this institution that we know, were founded on Jim Crow.
So she is basically saying here she doesn't support the filibuster and other elements of the institution that are on Jim Crow. Now, one of the claims that have been running around by the Democrat Socialists of America is that the Senate itself was created because of the rich. Now, the Senate is not, okay? The Senate is not. The Senate, the Senate by itself was created under the original Constitution, and the Senate by itself was the state's representation in the federal government, because you had the Senate. This is part of the reason why things were broken apart. You had the Senate, which represented the states, and the House of Representatives, which represented the people. That's the way they broke this out. And the Senate, the senators weren't selected by the people for many years, up until the point that we amended the Constitution. And honestly, I can't remember exactly which amendment it was that changed this. But senators were selected out of the state legislature to, again, represent the state in the federal government. Well, she specifically calls out the filibuster. And she apparently, in her civics class, which I doubt she had any, but in her civics class, she essentially says that the filibuster is because of Jim Crow. Well, here I am, headed right over. Here's the United States Senate page, talking about filibusters and cloiture. Here's the historical overview. end right here. The tactic of using long speeches to delay action on legislation appeared in the very first session of the Senate, September 22nd, 1789. 1789. Now, let me think about this, because the Constitution was created in 1787, was ratified in 1789. The idea of the filibuster started immediately, because that's what a filibuster is using long speeches to delay action on legislation. That's exactly what the filibuster is. Now, when exactly was Jim Crow? Now, let me think about this. Jim Crow, by definition, refers to an era of racial segregation and disenfranchisement laws within the United States, which operated primarily in the South and border states between 1877 and the mid-60s. 1877 and the mid-1960s. Wait, when did the filibuster start? Oh yeah, 1789. Oh, AOC, you need to go back to the drawing board. You really do. You know what else? Who else kind of fits in this dumbass class? Seriously? That would be Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff falls into this dumbass class as well. Really quickly, Adam Shifty Schiff was on the Hill the other day, and he was querying the 84-year-old John Ashcroft. Now, John Ashcroft used to be an attorney general for the United States. And, well, Adam Schiff seems to think that he's got John Ashcroft by the short hairs, the short and curlies, let's say. Yeah. I don't think so. Take a listen.
Mr. Blanche has said that he believes the president has both the right and the duty to use the Justice Department to go after his enemies. Do you subscribe to that view?
Thank you, Senator. I believe that the Attorney General of the United States has the right and responsibility to enforce the law uniformly. And if the law has been broken by the president's enemies, he has a duty. They do not become exempt from following the law merely by their enmity to the President of the United States. As a matter of fact, the people who break the law are in enmity with the people of the United States, whose expression of what is the law has been developed in this body, in the Congress of the United States. So we used to call people who break the law public enemies.
Well, Mr. Neal,
and so my view is that whether a person has been a political supporter or not of the President of the United States is not the determining factor regarding prosecution. It's whether a person has violated the law, and in enforcing the law, the Attorney General is carrying out the will expressed in the Congress.
Oh, Shifty Schiff just got his ass handed to him by an 84-year-old. Yeah. He wasn't prepared for that, by the way. He got all kind of flustered after that. All right. Well, to our ecological desk in the final minutes here. So we're in the ecological desk, and the desk is saying that dangerous air quality is running from the Great Lakes to the East Coast. And this is being driven by smoke that's coming out of Canada that is making the air quality very, very dangerous to an estimated 100 million people in the country. Well, that is true. Here's an image of the air quality, and you can see the Great Lakes area is in red, as well as several areas on the East Coast that are all getting hit by these fires that are coming out of Canada. Now, the challenge here is the fact that now President Trump, and look, I've told you I will be critical. I will be critical of the president when he does something stupid. This is stupid. The president put out the this, I don't know if he posted this on True Social. I think he did. Yeah, he took to True Social Friday afternoon, and he basically says, "Hey, you know, the smoke pollution from Canada's wildfires is affecting the United States from the Great Lakes to the Mid-Atlantic, and this is totally unacceptable. And that any costs to the U.S. is going to be added onto tariffs from Canada." Okay, look, I understand there's a lot of people in this world, especially in today's day and age, that are looking to find blame and culpability for certain things. But I want to point something out. In order for blame or culpability for this particular action, means that you need to find somebody who is the cause of this particular action. I want to point something out to everybody here. And I understand it's a disaster. Trust me. It's no different in my mind. It's no different in this particular case than if a hurricane or a tornado or some other, we'll call it an act of God or act of nature, happens. I want to show you something, okay? Here's an image, and I have the Canada side highlighted in yellow. What this is this is a map of the population density. And if you'll notice, the vast majority of Canadians live near the southern border. Okay, the vast majority of Canadians live near their southern border, our northern border. Okay, there's only one or two, which you can see here. There's only one or two places like, what is this? Edmonton, all right? And down here at Calgary, okay, which are, and Saskatoon, I should say, that are higher in Canada. So, take a look at this. You can see this. Here, right here. This is Canada. All right. Now, you'll notice most of their centers are like right along the border. Most of their people live right along the border. They don't live way up here. Well, now I'm going to show you where the fires are occurring. Oh, wait a minute. All these little red dots that you see, which are indicators of fires, here I'm scrolling in. Take a look at this. These are all little fires that have been picked up by satellite. Okay? This is, unfortunately, this is a bit of a problem here, folks, because the areas that he is talking about in particular, okay, we have a combination between the jet stream, which is carrying the smoke from all of these fires that are happening in areas where there's no people. Now, I know that Trump, along with many people, because I've said the same thing about, fires in America, have been talking about, well, thinning the forest. I mean, that's something that has to go. I mean, thinning the forest is something that really needs to happen. That's true. But if you don't have people living in that area, or you don't transport people up into that area, how are they going to thin the forests? Or if you have environmental controls that are stopping you from doing it, well, I mean, look at this. The vast majority are in areas where nobody freaking lives. The population centers, there's like nothing around. The cities of Edmonton's like the farthest north, realistically, of a decent place. And I'm sorry, but you're sitting here and you're going to say, well, because of something that was way outside of Canada's control, way outside, is now going to be, we're going to blame them? I mean, it's stuff like this, seriously. It's stuff like this that makes Trump look literally stupid at times. And it's things like this. This is what would be considered in soccer as an own goal. He opened up his mouth, even though, hey, you know what? That's a great policy. But he's just sort of like, licking his finger, throwing it at the dartboard, whatever, seeing whatever happens, and like, oh, let's see how people react to this, without thinking. So yeah, I'm a little miffed at Donald Trump for this concept. Like, oh, we're just gonna charge the Canadians because, acts of God outside of anybody's control, outside of any human existence in their area, has caused problems here in the eastern side of the house. Okay, I'm just going to point something out to you. Here, take a look at this region. What region is this? Oh, goodness, this is the Pacific Northwest region. Guess what? I live in the Pacific Northwest region. And as much as I sit here and I say to everybody over on the East Coast, I'm sorry that this is happening to you, but we here in the Pacific Northwest have two challenges. One, we have Democrat idiots in America who don't allow us, because of, whatever, EPA leftist rules that are running around, they don't allow us to thin our forests properly to help cut down on the number of underbrush fires and so on and so forth that happen. But also, do you see this area north of us? Yeah, it's called British Columbia. Do you see those two wonderful mountain ranges that are running here? Oh, yes. Well, there's this thing called the Fraser River Valley. And I tell you that when fires happen here in this area right up here, going from like Prince George all the way down to Kelowna and etc. Yeah, when fires happen there, guess what? The wind blows it through the Fraser Valley from the north and blows it right into the Pacific Northwest. We get it too. It's an occurrence. It happens. And the reason why it happens is debatable, completely debatable. Okay, it happens. It's called an act of God, or an act of nature if you don't believe in God. There is nothing that can be done about it. So sitting here trying to blame the Canadians and say, oh yeah, we're gonna tear up the shit out of you because you went ahead and caused these fires. Is there one person running around, or a group of people running around? Is there some eco-terrorists who are running around lighting these fires? Was it a bum, a person who doesn't live anywhere, who accidentally left a campfire burning or something along those lines? Is there a human being involved in all of these fires? The chances of that happening are pretty slim. Okay? I'm sorry, but I don't agree with you, Donald. This is when you create the ability for the left to sit here and say, well, my God, Trump is stupid. We know he isn't. We know he's not dumb. Because if he was dumb, he wouldn't be the billionaire that he is. Now, is he, genius level? That's debatable. You can talk about that. But don't sit here and make a stupid statement like, well, Canada is going to pay for all of our healthcare issues because they let their forests burn. I don't think Canada is sitting here saying, hello, we started the fire. We're apologizing for that. No, they're not. This is bad Trump. I'm just saying, this is bad Trump. Ugh. I'm so done with that. That is so stupid. Like, oh, we're going to make Canada pay for all of the fires. Well, guess what? There's fires going on. In fact, here, let me show you. There's fires going on all over the West Coast or the western half of the country. Guess what? We have fires all the time. We have fires all the time. It happens. The vast majority of fires, the cause of these fires are lightning. Vast majority. Some are arson. It's called summertime, when things get dry. And when you don't clean up the dry underbrush or thin the forests and manage the forests properly, you have the ability to have a wildfire. What do you think happened in California in the Palisades fire? Now, everybody is going to sit here and say, well, the frequency of fires has gone up. Well, yeah, because of the fact that they haven't been managed very much. Oh, the cost of the fires has gone up. Well, yeah, because population has expanded itself into those areas. It's sort of the same conversation that you could have about things like bear attacks or wild cougar attacks, meaning mountain lions, so on and so forth. Okay? Well, I mean, you've got a good point there. PEOED, you've got a good point. How can you possibly prove that they're not intentional? Well, I'm just going with the rolling of the dice and the chances. I mean, it could be intentional, which, of course, if there is intentional fire settings, then yeah, you absolutely have somebody to go after. But again, I'm just saying, it's sitting here trying to say that Canada is going to get penalized by tariffs because of the fact that they have fires that seem to be out of control, out of their own control. I mean, I highly doubt that somebody's going all the way up into frickin' the middle of this wooded area and lighting all of these fires because they want to get back at people. I find it incredulous that would happen. Anyway. All right. One last thing before I go. New Jersey's ban on assault weapons, because again, the leftists, they keep going after this stuff. New Jersey's ban on assault weapons has been deemed unconstitutional, according to a U.S. appeals court. Why do you keep doing this, folks? Seriously, it's like you guys are, meaning the left, you're sitting here and you're trying to bang your head against a brick wall. I mean, seriously. I don't get it. You're like banging your head against a brick wall. This is crazy. All right. So the federal appeals court yesterday ruled that New Jersey's assault weapons ban barring possession of semi-automatic rifles like AR-15s and large capacity magazines containing more than 10 rounds of ammunition is unconstitutional. No kidding. It's called shall not be infringed. Just saying. The ruling by the Philadelphia-based Third Circuit Court of Appeals marked the first time a federal appeals court had ruled that a state's assault weapons ban violated the U.S. Constitution's Second Amendment, which guarantees the right to keep and bear arms for self-defense. Actually, it doesn't guarantee the right to keep and bear arms for anything. You can just have them. Okay? You can just have them. I mean, seriously, it says the right of the people to keep and bear arms. Doesn't matter why you want them. There is not one single thing in the Second Amendment that says, no, the only reason why you need to have them is because of hunting. Nope. Oh, the only reason you can have firearms is because you're part of the militia. Well, that's true, but no, that's not the reason. You can have them whenever you want. You can have them. It's like, seriously. I'm just saying. I mean, come on. All right. Well, this issue is already in front of the Supreme Court and which, by the way, they agreed last month to review rulings that are upheld similar bans in Cook County, Illinois, and Connecticut against the, quote, powerful semi-automatic rifles. So, yeah. Anyway, this is headed back to the Supreme Court again. I just wish that Thomas, not Roberts, but Thomas could basically say, look, people, it says right there in the Second Amendment, shall not be infringed. You guys are done. Nobody can block anybody who is a law-abiding American citizen from handling or keeping any kind of firearms. End of story, which is exactly what the Second Amendment says. Anyway, we'll see what happens with this. I guarantee you it'll be up there. All right. And yes, I do understand. Yeah, California's most horrible fires, the Palisades fire, was actually started intentionally. And the fire crew and how this ended up happening is the fire crew who was out there, okay, was supposed to be watching the fire, and they got pulled back. They basically said, "Hey, wait a minute, we're not done. This is still a hot spot." And they said, and the higher up said, "No, we need you to come back in." And that's how that got reignited and started all over again. Alrighty, folks, that is it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure that you search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time that I go live. Also, too, don't forget, if you're over on Pilled, give me a red pill. Red pill means a thumbs up. Blue pill means you don't like me and your thumbs down. Then, across all of my platforms, whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, or, of course, the aforementioned Rumble, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, or in the case of 3 Chevy, thumb sideways, or a, at an angle. If you're 3 Chevy, across all my platforms. We will see you Monday right here on American Perspective, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a great rest of your weekend, and good night, everybody.